Hello everyone, Danny here from the Next Issue Podcast. On this video, I'll be doing a review for Batman, Catwoman, the Gotham War, Scorched Earth, #1. This is the conclusion of the Gotham War, but let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Tini and Chip Zdarsky, who are the writers in both the Batman and Catwoman titles, with pencils by Mike Hawthorne and Nicola Sismeja, inks by Mark Morales, Wade Badger, and Nicholas Sismeja, colors by Irv Pianto, letters by Clayton Cowell, fantastic cover by Jorge Jimenez, along with some really cool covers. We'll see some at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. In this final chapter, the epic crossover is here. This epic crossover is here. The Batman and his family must find a way to overcome the endgame of an ancient enemy. Can the Bat and the Cat set their differences aside? Is this the end of the Bat family? Lives change forever in this action-packed conclusion. So, if you haven't been keeping up with all the other parts, there will be spoilers for those parts, right? I won't go into spoilers for this issue, but as I describe kind of where we've been leading up to, you may see some spoilers, and as I talk about a little bit of the story. So, before I get into that, uh, I really enjoyed this issue overall, and I really enjoyed this event. Like overall, I think it was a fun event. It's very entertaining. It set out with a really interesting premise, although they kind of got away from it. Like bit by bit, they just kind of kept going away from the premise that I really liked originally, and I really enjoyed where they ended up. But I think it would have been really cool to explore that original idea. So I hope they come back to something like that. I hope that that's something we touch on, maybe in a different arc, because there's a lot of things, there's a lot of loose ends that need to be tied in. The idea of Batman being against, not being so binary when it comes to his view of crime and how the city's improvements and all that. And then, that kind of stuff dividing the family. I thought that was a really fun concept. But this was really fun as well. Very much superhero comic shenanigans. Towards the end, we have big battles. We have just all the encounters that you want. We have some moments that I don't know if everyone's gonna enjoy. There's a thing that happens that I think will probably be people will be talking about it for sure when this comes out. So I don't know. I'm actually very interested in the reception overall, but to me, overall, I enjoyed the story and I enjoyed what it's kind of being setting up for the future, and for both of these books going forward. So, as far as the art, Mike Hawthorne is fantastic. Nicholas Sismeja also fantastic. So they really just bring this to life in a really cool way. I do feel it's a little bit jarring the change from the artists that were both of the artists in the main books, although they don't have the same style. They have a very similar dynamic style, very fast and loose. Like it's a very stylized. It's a lot more stylized than both of these artists on this book. So that was a little jarring going back and forth. I know. I believe these artists both worked on on the first opening one shot. At least Mike Hawthorne for sure did. So maybe I wonder if they had to bring in a second artist for time's sake. But yeah, overall, I was happy. It's just the the inconsistent art from book to book was a little bit jarring for throughout this whole event. But like I said, the main artists on the Batman and Catwoman books have a lot more similar artists. Also, the artists that they brought in for the Red Hood the Red Hood series was also very similar in style. But let's take a look at some of the preview art so you know what I'm talking about. As you can see here, this looks very much more traditional, right? With those heavier inks, a lot more shadows. We just have even the character designs are a little bit different from what we've been seeing all throughout. I mean, and just that's because a lot of these characters, a lot of these comic artists have very distinct styles. So it definitely there's a clash here. But I really like this panel at the bottom of Two Face, just a close up on his face. I like that you can see, as we left off in the previous issue, some of the villains have raided the armory because Vandal Savage um, bought the house and found the Batcave, so like they have access to Batman stuff. You can kind of see that here, and then of course we have the discussion of Batman, Catwoman, and Jason as they are trying to figure out what they're gonna end up doing. Um, yeah, I don't know. I will say this is not my favorite design for Jason, but overall, I enjoyed the issue a lot. I think it was a really interesting way to end this story. But I do want to know what other people are thinking. Let me know if you read this whole arc, um, because there's a lot of, I feel like it wasn't set up in the best way by DC by having it start in a one shot and go through three different series and then end in this other one shot. I feel like it's very confusing. I think this will read a lot better as a trade collection, as far as the story goes. But then if you when you read it in the trade, going back from one artist to the other and changing every few pages, I think that's going to be a little jarring. So yeah, it would have been interesting if they had been able to get like one or two consistent artists to kind of do the whole thing. So I don't know. That's just kind of like, some editorial work there. But yeah, overall, quite enjoyable. Two characters that I really enjoy, and I'm very excited to see where they go from here, and how they live with the repercussions of all the actions from this, specifically Batman, because he crossed a few lines that I was not ready for him to cross, and I don't know that he can come back from that. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. If you have read this book and the event as a whole, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.